Welcome to the Shine Seeker Show, the podcast where strategy and soul come together, because the best business plan in the world can't do its job if you don't believe you're worth building it. I'm your host, Katie-Beth Schultz, founder of the Sunburst Strategies Co. and your Shine strategist. Every week, we're going from scattered to strategic with real conversations, real marketing strategy, and honest moments that remind you are already worthy of the shine you're seeking. Let's get into it. Put your imagination cap on and walk with me into a beautiful boutique for a second. So, you walk in and there's beautiful things everywhere. You've got some locally handmade jewelry over on the right side of the wall. You've got beautiful, really unique boutique style clothing taking up the center. And that's the first thing that you see when you walk in. There's a table, there's mannequins, everything all around. On the left side of the wall, you've got some candles, and these candles, y'all, take up the entire left wall. This boutique even built special shelving that would fit the candle perfectly. So it wasn't too deep into the shelf, but it wasn't protruding off the shelf. And it's the perfect amount that a customer's hand can go grab that thing and pull it out. Then as you continue to walk through the store, you see some home decor items. You might even see some furniture pieces, maybe some light fixtures. Maybe there's even a little bit of makeup, a little bit of fragrance, perfume, that kind of thing. Now, the display that takes up prime real estate, what do you think that is? What's the thing that I talked about that had something special built for it? So the candles, okay, on that left wall where there was special shelving built for it. And it took up the entire left wall. And if we think about that wall for a second, and if you can imagine it and picture it with me, this boutique is known for those specific candles. They're really hard to find. They're not sold in big box stores. They're not sold on big retailers online. It's still this really uniquely handmade thing. And the owner's story, the founder's story is like this really interesting story about how she got into candle making, and she does it with her daughter, and on and on and on. And I'm truly making all of this up right now. So the reason I want you to think about this store and this boutique is because I'm going to walk you through a conversation about margin, okay? So when you walk in to that store and you saw the clothing display that I talked about at the front, it's there, right? When I walk, that's the first thing I see when I walk in. Then, depending on how the store is laid out, you might have some people to go right or left first. So the thing that takes up the most real estate, if you will, inside the store is going to be that wall of candles. And y'all, why did the shop owner, this very brilliant shop owner, decide to take up that entire wall to spend even more money on the display for holding these little candles instead of like the super cute clothing or the handmade jewelry, or even like, and then like, why is the furniture more towards the back? Why are they not carrying 1,000 different light fixtures, where if you look up, the entire ceiling's covered in light fixtures. Why is there only a little bit of makeup in the back? Why is there only a little bit of perfume more towards the back? Because this brilliant shop owner has done the work to decide, and not decide, but to figure out what her highest gross margin item is. What is her best seller? And it's the candles. The candles are a good product because of all the unique things that I told you about them. So she is going to invest a little more time and a little more money into this thing that takes up the most real estate of her shop, because she is going to get the biggest return on her investment from investing in those things to make that thing sell better, to sell more of them, to make it more visually appealing, and to have access through it all throughout her store. Okay? She's going to put the clothing as soon as you walk in, and then the jewelry is like the next thing. Those 3 top things, those categories are going to be her 3 top sellers with the largest gross margin, where she makes the most money. So she's going to have more time and energy there. Now, if I was doing like a retail audit, if you will, like of a shop or something, you know, and we did this way back in the day when I was a cute little baby and a sweet little 20-something in the boutique shop. You've got to keep a heartbeat and a pulse on your numbers, because if you don't keep that, then you're going to spend time, energy, inventory, and precious retail space on something that doesn't make you any money. Okay, you may think it looks cute, but it doesn't make you any money. So also what I want you to think about is the square footage of this boutique shop. Okay. Like, she's on this street where there's a ton of foot traffic. Her rent is expensive. So she's got to make sure that she is incredibly strategic about what she buys and where she puts it and how much space is taking up. So say the left wall with all of the candles on it takes up, I don't know, half of her shop in square footage when you measure it all out. Then those candles are costing her, just in space and inventory, they're costing her half of her rent every month. So here's the question. So that's a good choice that she's made, because those are her best sellers, highest gross margin. Like, she's making the most money from those babies, right? Would she want to fill half or more of her shop with furniture, which is her slowest moving item in that shop? No. It's expensive, it's hard to move, and it takes up a crap ton of space. It's costing her more in real estate, more in her money per square foot to house that thing. And she's not making money on that. Okay? So why am I telling you all this? One, if you're a product-based business and you've got a brick and mortar, listen to that if you've never thought about it that way. But the biggest thing that I have been thinking about lately is this very thing. The stuff, the things, whether it's like a physical, you know, like this pillow right here, like a physical product in my house, or a thing that's happening in my life or in my business that's taking up my time and energy, which is like, you know, it's dang near it is invaluable, because no one can give me more money to get that time back that happened yesterday, right? So let's get into it. Okay, so my husband, Matt, and I have been actively thinking about this, like the accumulation of stuff, and not just what it costs in dollars and in monetary form, but in mental load and time and energy, and what it takes to manage it, to clean it, to move it, to store it, to organize it, and just all of that. The toys, y'all, the toys. Oh my gosh, if you've got little children. And what a great problem to have, that we've got so much toys and like junk everywhere, right? Like she is so blessed. We are so blessed. We're surrounded by people that bless us. But the question is, do we need all of that? No, we don't. Is my daughter going to make it if we get rid of some of that stuff? Yes, she is. Am I going to make it? Is my husband going to make it? Are we going to make it if we get rid of some stuff that we all of a sudden find 10 years later that we have literally not used in 10 years, touched in 10 years, thought about in 10 years? Yeah, we're going to make it. So I also want to tell you that this is not a minimalism lecture. I'm not a minimalist at all. I don't think I go so far as to say maximalist. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. Shocking. We've been talking about the messy middle so much lately. But I just want to name something here. I want to talk about how you and me have the choice and can make a decision about the things we have, the mental space we have, how our money is used, how our time is used, and are we getting a return on that? Or are we not? And what is it costing us in time, money, and energy to manage those things? And again, whether it's a physical product or not. So listen closely here. Every square foot of your house costs you something. Every hour of your week costs you something. Every item on your to-do list costs you something. And the question is, what is the margin on that thing? What's the gross margin on that thing that you are paying for, in whatever form that you're paying for it? Is it worth the physical or mental or emotional space that it's taking up? And I'm talking about commitments. I'm talking about obligations. I'm talking about your calendar. I'm talking about offers in your business, relationships that you have, habits that you do have or don't have, healthy habits versus not healthy habits. What are those earning in your life? What's earning that square footage dollar amount in your life? And what's just taking up space? Let's go back to the boutique example. If I literally was doing this with a boutique client, I would come in and I would say, hey, like if they're like, oh, I need help like streamlining and organizing and focusing and getting clarity around what we have, and I need to get the numbers tighter and all of that, I would say, okay, let's run your numbers. Let's run the sales numbers. What's your cost of goods sold? What's your gross margin? And y'all, this is kind of like a businessy thing to say, I guess, but you know, every situation is different. But about the top 20% of what's making the money in that business is making like all the money. Okay. And that bottom 80% of junk that you've got up in the store, like, cut it, make it go on sale, don't buy it, like, get rid of it, honestly. And buy more inventory, or move to a smaller space, or find something else that is going to, maybe, the candle that sold so well, maybe that girl's got another kind of product that goes with it or something. I don't know. But do you get what I'm saying here? Like, that bottom stuff is just taking up space because we're actively deciding not to let it go. Okay? And like, what's the top 20% of what you actually need in your life? What you actually need in your business? Those things that make us function, feel comfortable, feel, like, moving us towards our shine. That's the whole point of the show, right? What's the shine you're seeking? What are the things, the obligations, the physical things, your calendar, your time, your money? What is moving you towards your shine, and what is moving you away from your shine? That's as black and white as it can get. I mean, I am such a person of, again, like we talked about, like, a messy middle, and like how, I think this, but it really depends on the situation or whatever. Y'all know this is a black and white situation, which is relieving and also scary and frustrating at the same time, because it's so, like, cut and dry. You're doing things or not doing things that move you toward your shine or move you away from your shine. It's as simple as that. So this is the actual meat and potatoes, soul and heart of this specific episode, is that I want you to actually take 5 seconds to stop and think, what is it that I want my life to feel like? And did y'all hear me? Like, feel like. Not, this is what I want to achieve. Like, this is what I want to accomplish. This is the money that I want in the bank. Like, no. What do you want your life to feel like on a Tuesday afternoon in October? Because I love October. It's my birth month. It's fall. That's why I chose October. Like, what do you want a random day in the middle of the week in your favorite season or month to feel like to you? Let me give you some things to think about here, okay? Is it time freedom? Is it money freedom? Is it both? What does that look like specifically? And not like a vision board, but in a real way on a Tuesday afternoon in October is for me. Because until you get that specific with what you want it to feel like, you're going to keep accumulating things, physically or not, that are not going to get you there. And you are going to optimize the wrong things by default because that's easier. We're always going to, human nature, like, what's the least resistance? What is the easiest thing to do? How will I feel the most comfortable right now, today? And sometimes that's not the answer. Sometimes, in order to get to the thing that's going to feel like your dream life on a Tuesday afternoon in October, it's like what you need to do today is going to super ultra suck. And I am living that in real time, y'all. I'm living that in real time. Do I want to stay up all night? Do I want to, like, barely be, taking a potty break, or like being like, oh my God, I'm so thirsty. I really need to go fill up my water bottle, but not wanting to, like, stop the, like, momentum and the flow of what's happening so that I can, get to this expansion. Like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to live life like that, but I have the, wherewithal to know that, like, in order to get to that Tuesday afternoon in October feeling of my life, I've got to do those things today. Okay. So here's another example. When I was thinking about what this means for us, what do I want our life to feel like? One example is I would love for there not to be junk everywhere in our house. I would love to feel like all the things, and I'm looking around my office on the other side of this screen right now, of this lens. Like, there's junk everywhere, y'all. There's a cat toy right there, a stuffy right there, a charger and pillows and toys and stuff that I need to go through and decide if it's throwaway or keep. And if I keep it, like, what the heck am I going to do with it? Like, there's so much junk everywhere. I would love to feel like I don't have to make those choices, and that all of this stuff could just go away. Well, how would some of that stuff go away? Okay. We are blessed enough to basically, we can get our daughter within reason most anything she wants, okay? And don't at me, don't, oh, must be nice or whatever. Like, we have y'all, we have some everybody's got their struggles, okay? But stick with me here. We're blessed enough that we can pretty much get her what she wants. So one thing that we want to do moving forward for, like, birthdays, Christmas, like holidays and, like, things that are happening where she can get presents and physical things that she probably already has one of, or doesn't even care about, or will play with for 5 seconds and then it'll break, or she'll play with it for 5 seconds and then forget that it exists, and then the playroom will just eat it, and then we won't know where it is, and then all of a sudden it appears one day. Like, instead of all of that, which, like, the energy it just took me to even explain that process to you was too much. Like, we would love to see our friends and family give monetary gifts in place of the toys and the things, gifts, because that's something that she could actually use. We could put it in a custodial savings account, like a custodial Roth or something, and it could compound. And then that's something that would actually help move and propel her life forward. Now, don't hear me say, oh, she doesn't need any toys. Oh, she doesn't need any of the things. She does. She's got it. She's good. Okay. But it's a specific decision that came from a specific value that we have based on how we want our life to feel. We were intentional. We're making a plan on purpose. And I want you to ask yourself, what are your values right now? And why are they that way? Why are you making the decisions that you're making? Why are you not making the decisions that you need to make so that you can feel the way you want to in the future. Like, what does your future life look like on a random Tuesday in October? Yeah. Okay, here's the business application to what we're talking about today. Like, you may know that you want more, but more of what? Do you want more time, money, or freedom, or impact? Like, the answer to that, there's no wrong answer here either. Like, but how you answer that question, like, what do you want more of? What do you want less of? Like, whatever those answers to those questions are going to be very different businesses. Like, they're all going to look very different. And so it is so incredibly important that you make an actual decision so that you can optimize for where you actually want to be going. And I think that's where specifically a lot of marketers get in trouble. So let me talk to the other side of the coin for a second. If there's any other marketers out there and you keep not getting your contracts renewed, or your clients are like, what the hell, why don't I have more conversions or likes or whatever it is that they've hired you to do, and you have not stopped to ask them what their goal is, what their purpose is for hiring you, then you're shooting yourself in the foot already. Okay, so marketers, you don't have to go through this like whole thing. If the business you're working for needs to, you can come see us at the Sunburst Strategy Scope. But you don't have to go through this whole thing. Like, you just need to understand, well, yeah, I'll market the crap out of you and I will make your business money, but like, what is your goal here? And if they're like, oh, more followers, more likes, absolutely not. And if they're like more money, like, I need you to be more specific than that. Like, I've got to understand a lot more about your business. So, marketers out there, that you can create things and campaigns that is going to attract who that business needs to attract so that those people can give them money for the things. Okay. So, I have an example here, and again, super vulnerable about our own business. So some of you might have not even heard of it. Probably not, since we're not even 10 episodes deep. The Golden Hour Reading Room. Okay, so the Golden Hour Reading Room is like a book club, like a monthly book club. We take one book, we read it across the course of a quarter. So what was that? 3 months. And we meet once a month for 3 months to talk about the book. And it's always a book that either helped build, my thoughts, vision, ethos for how I operate in business as Katie-Beth Schultz, or for the Sunburst Strategies Co. in general, or whatever it is. Like, it's always going to be a business growth or a personal growth type book, and it's super cheap. It's $9 a month. That thing, y'all, makes no money. It makes no money. And why do I do it? Because I've run the numbers. I know that doesn't make money, but I love it. I love it so much. And it's really important. Like, I'm doing it anyways. I'm reading the books anyways. So whether someone joins the book club or not at the $9, it doesn't really matter, because I'm doing it anyways. And it's a low lift for us internally. Like, I'm not spending hardly anything to make this thing live and happen. And so it makes sense for me, if I love it so much, to just keep it. Now, if this thing was draining my time and money and energy, and I wasn't seeing a monetary return on that, then I would have to say goodbye to it. Okay. Like, that's just good business sense. But I'm telling you all this because, like, I made this decision on purpose and not by accident. And it's a values-based decision, not a revenue-based decision. And sometimes you do have to make that call. There's not a right or wrong answer here, but it's just you've got to be specific about what it is you want and then make that decision on purpose and then optimize what you're doing so that the decision you made can be fruitful in whatever way it needs to be fruitful. Something else that I do want to say about the golden hour reading room and about that, like, oh, like if it, you know, making money versus not, and then making a values-based decision versus a revenue-based decision. I will say something that I want everyone, especially the business owners, entrepreneurs, and creatives, anyone doing something for money, I want to give you this thought too. It is so important to learn the rules before you can break them and know what you are optimizing for before you start optimizing, right? You have to know the game you're playing before you can get strategic at it. Okay? So this is what I'm talking about. As you know, if you've been with me for any time, I was a professional company dancer, and I was teaching and doing things too, and I've always taught off and on my whole life. And so one thing that can be interesting from an instructor's perspective, or if you're putting choreography on someone, is that here's a good example. I'm never going to do something out of the technique boundary for a little where I might do it for a big, like a senior in high school, or definitely college and professional, or pre-professional, whatever. I'm going to get more creative with the older ones. I'm going to break the technique rules because they've already learned the game of dance. Okay. So the little has not learned that game, has not learned the technique. So if I do something and teach them something out of technique, they're going to learn it wrong. So they're not going to learn the proper technique. And when you don't learn the proper technique, it's not technique for technique's sake, y'all. It is a safety issue. And so if I teach her how to do something outside of technique for the sake of choreography or something, because I want to do it a certain way and like have it look cool, they could learn it the wrong way and then injure themselves. And that's what I want you to think about. Whoa, and this is what I'm preaching to myself right now too. That you've got to learn the rules before you can break them. Because then think about that little. We'll use me. I've been doing it since I was 3 years old. So I've learned the technique. I'm 36 years old now. So for 33 years, I understand what I need to do and how I need to do it, okay? And so once you get to that high school, if you've been, taking dance your whole life, once you get to pre-professional or college, once you get to professional, instead of doing something with perfect technique, if I'm like, I want you to turn, but like, don't be straight up and down, like your spine can just kind of go with it. The reason I can do that, the reason those dancers can do that, is because we know in order to execute that turn, it is not about the arm placement, and it's not about being a straight up and down spine placement. If The choreographer wants the turn to be off center and for those of you not watching right now, I'm kind of like making my head go like up and around and down, and like my arms are just flying wherever. But the choreographer still wants me to turn. We know that is going to happen because of spotting, and that's going to happen because of holding my center. But the little, if we show them that turn and say to make it happen, they're not going to spot, they're not going to hold their center, and they're going to fall down or get dizzy or whatever. So do you see what I'm saying here, y'all? It's that in business, you can apply this, from any sport. Mine was dance, but business, any sport, anything that you're doing, the game of life, if you will, I'm going to play the game. I'm going to follow the rules I got to follow. And then the more experience I get, the more seasoned I get, the more knowledge I gain, I am going to play the game of life, of business strategically so that I can win. Because if I'm not playing it strategically, if I'm not optimizing for what I want, I am going to just be with everybody else. And that's not who I want to be. And if you started a business, that's probably not who you want to be. You probably did it for a reason. You probably did it because you want to see something happen, make a difference for some type of person, to help some type of person, to solve some type of problem. So we want to be the ones that are different. Different is good, y'all. Weird is good. We want to be the strategic weirdos, okay? On the other side of the coin, a lot of women I know out there that have been told that if they want a simpler life, that they're not ambitious enough. And that's just simply not true. And then a lot have been told that if you want more money or more whatever it is, that you're greedy. That's simply not true. What is true is whatever is true for you. You need permission. I'm giving it to you right now. You really don't need permission, but for those of you that think you do, I'm giving it to you right now. It's time to get specific. It's time to decide what it is that you want. What is your why? What is your enough? What is your enough time and money and emotional basket look like? What does that look like? Be specific. And that's what we're going to optimize for. And that's not going to be the same thing that your best friend is doing. That's not going to be the same thing that a person maybe you're on a team with is doing. That's not going to be the same thing that this girl on Instagram is doing. It's not going to be the same thing I'm doing. It's not going to be the same thing the Summer Strategies Co is doing. But that is okay. You should not be worried about what whoever they is, what they're doing. Like, what is enough for you and your family and your life? That is what we need to be optimizing for. What is the shine that you're seeking? What is that random Tuesday in October, in the fall time? What does that shine look like? What does it feel like? What is enough? How are you going to get there? What is seeking your shine look like? What does your life look and feel like when you have won? When you have crossed that finish line and you're like, y'all, I made it. What does that feel like? You've got to get specific. You've got to get personal. And you've got to find what that answer is, because that's your strategy. That's all your strategy is right there. And that is the shine that you're seeking. So what will happen if you don't define the shine you're seeking? What will happen if you don't figure out what the strategy is and optimize your life and business around it? Here's what's going to happen. You're going to arrive somewhere that you never wanted to be. And y'all, that's devastating. Like, I don't want to look back on my life and say, wow, like, what did I even do all of that for? What was the purpose of that? Why was I just like wasting my time and spinning my wheels? And I'll tell you right now, the majority of people out there, they're like fine with that. They just like kind of go through the motions. And I know that if you're listening right now, you're a shine seeker, and that is not good enough for you. So I want you to get clear on what is the shine you're seeking. I'll see you next time. Shine on.